On day 31 of the government shutdown, they're coming. Wakey, wakey, you're gonna be up all night being a little wolf and keep mommy up all night, and me. You wanna stay sleep all day and be up all night being a little wolf. Alright, let's see what Mike Johnson had to say. Happy Halloween, everyone, by the way. Happy Halloween. Hope you're all having a good Halloween. I'm trying to get the video up. Give me a second.
WIC program, the nutrition assistance to women, infants, and children.
I think, in my opinion, a little bit of government shutdown is going to be so bad, right?
That if there is any way to fund these programs that are drying up,
the tariffs, some should use the tariffs.
To fund SNAP during the Democrat shutdown, you can be assured that you can manage. But we are now reaching a breaking point. Thanks to Democrats voting no on government.
I think maybe a little bit less government's better.
SNAP benefits for millions of American families are drying out. It's about 1 in 8 people in this country.
And illegal aliens. They're going to hurt their illegal aliens too. Oh wait, that's the whole reason they're voting no on it, the Democrats. Because they want to keep making sure that the illegal aliens fucking have health insurance, get free food off the taxpayer of American money.
To vote against these services.
Don't give me that shit if you're watching my channel. Don't you dare try telling me fucking immigrants that are illegally here without citizenship were not getting SNAP benefits for food. They were. I've had many tell me they weren't, and even in my live videos, I literally have them on video saying they're on fucking link card. SNAP. They're literally on video fucking saying it. If you go to my older live streams, when I was interviewing all the migrants, it's in the fucking live stream.
While critical SNAP benefits run the Democrats is they've opposed it, and the reason that's so important and noteworthy for the American people is the Senate is the only place where this can end. The last hope of reopening the government before millions of Americans go hungry. They've abandoned their post. Democrats are now this is the incredible part, they're now trying to somehow blame Republicans for cutting off SNAP.
The Democrats.
Republicans, remember, the ones who have voted 14 times for the SNAP benefits to flow. It's the Democrats.
Except for fucking illegal aliens to have health care and free food.
The same Democrats who've been perfectly fine with deep and WIC for over a month now are suddenly claiming to be outraged that Republicans and President Trump can't just wave some magic wand and fix the mess that they themselves have created. If there's simply waking up to the pain the reference decision is causing, then there's one simple way to fix it. They can come back in here and go to reopen the government. But we don't think they're going to do that. Now, this is what's interesting. The most recent development is that you've got many more people now the Senate Democrats do the right job. There's a handful of moderates still in the party, and they are very upset about that. The tension is rising. You had Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, for example, who just yesterday, I think it was, accused his own party of, quote, playing chicken with the food security of 42 million Americans. And you've seen now the avalanche of people and organizations and institutions calling on the Democrats to reopen the government and vote for the clean cigar. You've got labor unions, you've got the largest airlines in America, you've got independent voters, working class Americans across the country. They are all pleading with the Democrats to stop using their hardships, people's hardships, for the Democrats' political gains in Washington.
I agree with that.
Yesterday there was a lot said about an editorial that was in the Washington Post.
Start moving again, you gotta go back in here.
But it reads in part just one line. I'm going to stand there and read the whole thing. Washington Post, as you know, is not generally on my side. They said, quote, Democrats will continue to acknowledge that they refuse to do this, reopen the government, because it would mean giving up their leverage. If they persist, it would mean families.
That's how you made Sam feel, how you're feeling right now.
I mean, I literally could be here all day reading the Democrats' own past statements in the perils of shutting down the government. And I'm just going to highlight a couple this morning because they're relevant and timely. I'll begin with Senator Coons. He's the senior Democrat senator from Delaware. In 2013, he said this, quote, our democracy cannot function if the majority party threatens to shut down the government unless it gets its way, unquote. And that was Senator Coons in 2013. And what is he saying now? Earlier this week, he said, quote, frankly, this is our only leverage.
He's right, though. It is their only moment of leverage. Take 61 votes. They only have 50 votes. So they need 5 more Democrats to vote to reopen the government right now. Happy Halloween, by the way.
That was in 2018. You know what he said this time? Quote, if we reopen the government, we lose our leverage. Senator Sheldon in the White House in 2013. The shutdown was, quote, entirely unnecessary and has harmed our economy and our reputation in the world. But if we also can't forget, we must never again allow extremist hostage-taking to create this kind of disruption. That was 2013. Just days ago, the senator from Rhode Island said the opposite. It's the only lever we have in the shutdown. What he means is that the pain of the American people is their political lever. I guess he's forgotten his cries of alarm over the extremist hostage-taking. And how about the House? Infamously, we all know the Democrat whip, second highest rating said, quote, just last year, he said, they are taking a non-issue of false flag and saying this is the reason we can't proceed. It is a dangerous precedent to be threatening a shutdown. That's what she said in 2024. But what she said about a week ago.
You're watching the Toothbrush by Billie Eilish. But did you know that there's a YouTube music app where you can also listen to the EDM version, the ska version, and of course, get the YouTube music premium.
The opposite, quote, of course, there will be families that are going to suffer here, but it's one of the few times many House members have echoed the same hypocrisy, and I'm not going to waste our time with it this morning, but I do want to leave with this for Chuck Schumer, because he is the actual architect of the shutdown. He is the one who is predicting the thing of that and doing the right thing. In March of this year, voted on 7
Man, Halloween snuck up on me this year. I didn't even get to go to any shutdown is going to affect people that, like, use your link card to buy candy to give out to children on Halloween. I guarantee you there's a lot of motherfuckers out there using that link card to buy candy to put out on their front porch to give to children for Halloween. There's going to be a lot of less houses giving out Halloween candy this year. You don't got that link card benefit.
Is absolutely unconscionable. Every day they hold the federal hostage. They are leaving millions of families' livelihoods and critical benefits, including SNAP, hanging in the balance. Of course, we all know the 13,000 air traffic controllers working without pay, many turning to Uber, taking second jobs in restaurants, etc., as the shutdown continues. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees are not receiving a paycheck. Thousands of small business loans are going unapproved each month because of the shutdown, equating to almost $4 billion a year being taken out of the loans of small business owners across this country, truly the backbone of our economy. It is a fact that Democrats shut down the government over free health care for illegal aliens.
That's insane.
And their $1.5 trillion partisan wish list.
Healthcare for illegal aliens. That's why y'all ain't gonna get that link card. Like,
we are here today because SNAP benefits run dry tonight. With a shield maybe. So the truth has finally revealed itself, hasn't it? Programs like SNAP is now reduced to cynical control over people's
puts people over politics does the complete opposite. Millions of Americans, as of tomorrow, will no longer receive SNAP and potentially WIC or even a paycheck. Democrats have instigated a disgusting dereliction of duty unlike anything I have seen in all my years doing this work, all to favor illegal far-left policies that benefit only a small sliver of their base. I am embarrassed for Chuck Schumer. He is going out of his way to please the likes of Zoran Mamdani, a man who is polarizing America with his socialist rhetoric and anti-American principles. The very essence of government responsibility is to the citizens who live and work here to protect their interests first, unless you are a Democrat in the United States Senate. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are doing all this because they fear the socialists and the radicals to their left. Ironically, in leaving American families hungry and American children without food, they are giving a preview of what those socialists will do to every one of us if they ever take power. What you're really seeing here is the end of a responsible party of government, a party that ends governance, a party that ignores Americans, a party that cannot master the most basic principles and processes of government, is a party that cannot be trusted with the reins of power. It isn't oriented toward anything but the end of the system in which it exists. SNAP is arguably just the beginning. The logical and inevitable end to where this all goes is the Democrats and the whole superstructure of constitutional government. President Trump has made it clear, reopen the government, get government funding back on solid footing, restore the confidence of American families who count on programs like SNAP, and stop treating them and their well-being as pawns in a political game, according to the Democrats. Prioritize citizens, prioritize American families, and prioritize American children. I would like to make a quick note and then want to obviously leave lots of time for questions. Yesterday, I was in Indiana, and I was visiting a soybean farm, 6th generation soybean farm, the Everetts.
I hate soybeans.
And they have about 1,500 acres right outside of Indianapolis. We were harvesting corn, but they also do soybeans. And as I was there, it occurred to me that what President Trump has been for the last
corn
week
that
or
you can
weeks
turn into popcorn.
in fighting across the world to open up markets for American farmers, for American families, while the Democrats are back here playing political games. It must stop. We must get the government open, and our citizens and these voters and our taxpayers and our families and our children expect no less. Thank you all.
I'll take a few questions. Chad, go ahead. Just stand up and back. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity to explain that. So the fact that the Democrats are saying, but wait, USDA has money in their accounts, why it is really their fault, I've seen it over and over and over from some of their leaders, is absolute false, and it is a lie. We have been saying on October 10th we sent messages out, on October 24th we sent messages out. These benefits end on November 1st. Now, let me get down into a little bit of the details on that to better explain. So there is a contingency fund at USDA, but that contingency fund, by the way, doesn't even cover, I think, half of the $9.2 billion that would be required for November SNAP. But it is only allowed to flow if the underlying program is funded. It's called a contingent when the underlying fund is flowing. So, for example, if the if today,
this is interesting.
Say, oh, never mind, sorry, we'll open the government, and SNAP flows, Hurricane Melissa or one of the hurricanes hits, that's the contingency fund that we would use to send more money into the.
So in other words, that fund's only used for natural disasters
that are harmed by a specific event like a hurricane. But it is a contingency fund that can only flow if the underlying appropriation is approved. Even if it could flow,
Democrats are lying about that. We know that. Some of the ones who are out saying it are actually attorneys. They can read the black letter law themselves. They didn't file a lawsuit, you saw, to try to do it. Why? Because they wanted a talking point. They know that's a frivolous piece of litigation. They know they're going to lose, but they also know it'll take many weeks or months to have that ultimately determined by a court. It's the way the justice system works. So they're using it as a talking point to try to claim. They know, I believe they know for a fact that what they filed in the court is false. I mean, you know, they're lawmakers. They're supposed to know how the law works. And so the whole thing is just shameful. Shameful. And they're
I
using
hope if the lawmakers they know how the law works.
That underlying fund that the secretary just addressed was unfunded by the Democrats themselves when they voted against the CR. The CR would have kept all this funded, and they chose not to do it. Not once, not twice. 13 times in the Senate, once in the House, 14 overall. Yes, sir. I haven't. The president's been very busy. He was in, Asia doing all these trade agreements. I've been a little busy, as you know. We haven't spoken since he returned. I sent him a text earlier this morning. I saw that as well. What you're seeing is an expression of the president's anger at the situation. He is as angry as I am and the American people are about this madness, and he just desperately wants to be reopened so that all these resources can flow to the people who need it so much. Look, I'll just say this in general. As I've said many times about the filibuster, it's not my call. I don't have a say in this. It's a Senate chamber issue. We don't have that in the House chamber. But the filibuster has traditionally been viewed as a very important safeguard. If the shoe was on the other foot, I don't think our team would like it. The Democrats, look, they've said what they would do. They would pack the Supreme Court. They would make Puerto Rico and D.C. states. Wild. They would ban firearms.
That's wild.
They would do
That's
all
horrible.
sorts of.
And they were doing it, damn right.
Harmful fishery, and the safeguard in the Senate has always been a filibuster. But again, not my issue, not something I get to even weigh in on. My opinion on this is not relevant. It's the senators. But I think that it just is another expression of the pressure that is being felt, the anger by the president and by me and all of us that we're in this situation at all.
I'm not really that angry, to be honest.
Job. I'm
I think maybe a little bit less government and a government shutdown might be a little bit of a good
policy
thing.
priorities on the CR. It is Biden-level policies and spending. They have no excuse at all not to support it.
Other than not letting fucking aliens get fucking Medicaid
except for what we just articulated on the future every day.
Cash
they want to give a showing to the radical left fringes of their base, and they want to give illegal benefits or benefits back to illegal aid.
It's just so long.
All the other
You
crazy
didn't have
stuff.
this light going through it at night.
Sure.
Or during the day.
Quickly, I have not spoken to the president
In particular
either
during the
since
day,
last
it'd be
night,
pitch
but
black
let me
in
say
here
this.
probably. It's so long.
He is, I've been next to him for almost 9 or 10 years now. He is so... Hey, you guys. I heard that premium light is coming.
Wait, what's a premium light?
It's more of the YouTube you love with fewer interruptions.
So now they can watch me do this without ads?
Oh, I like this very much. Yes. Hey, everybody, back to work. Introducing Premium Light. Way less interruptions, way more YouTube. Only $7.99 a month.
Resolutely focused on delivering for the American people. All day, every day, 7 days a week, 20 hours a day. This is what he is thinking about. And as the world's greatest deal maker, from his perspective, the way he thinks out of the box as a man is how do we end this nonsense, and how do we again open the government, and how do we support these families that need support
without giving the aliens fucking rent money and fucking health insurance.
see, I've got a chart I want to show you all on the SNAP funding. My charts are slightly lanky because our print shop is closed because we're furloughed. So it was a little arts and crafts time over at USDA early this morning. So this is the chart of the SNAP program. Now I know everyone can't see this, but this goes back to October of 2023. And I want everyone to follow. This is the red line that under Joe Biden, you see an almost 30% increase in the cost of the SNAP program over the 4 years that President Biden and the USDA was overseeing it with Congress funding it. And you see the downward trend was reelected November, and we've had about 650,000 people move off of SNAP since President Trump was elected. A press conference for another time. That's obviously the goal of all these programs, is to move families into real work and the dignity of that. I say that because the astronomical costs of the SNAP program under Joe Biden was historical. It was unprecedented, and we don't have the same levels of funding that were there in the past. And by the way, we have band-aided and bubble gummed and duct taped this deal to get this 1 month of funding in for SNAP, the $9 billion. Thank you.
Oh, so they are going to put it out there for November, I'm guessing. They should have given it to the legal aliens, though.
My message to America is first, the fact that your government is failing you right now. That poverty is not red or blue. It is not a Republican or Democrat issue. Doesn't matter who you voted for or even if you voted. That if you are in a position where you can't feed your family and you're relying on that $187 a month for an average family in the SNAP program, that we have failed you. But I think what's so important, and this is why we keep hammering this, the Republicans have voted over and over and over again to open this government so that these funds don't stop. And for 14 different times, the Democrats have said, no, we are going to hold hostage the most vulnerable families in this country so that we can get our left-wing radical agenda into the government and the governing structure. And to that, President Trump, Speaker Johnson, Majority Leader Thune have said absolutely not, and we're very grateful for that. Please vote yes. We implore the Democrats in the Senate to vote yes to get this government open and these people the benefits that they need to feed their families.
And it's clarified. She says we need vote, she means we, the Democrats. Okay. As we've just explained, Republicans have voted 14 times to get this done. The president.
Oh, here's that immigration bill there. So we can't put our own homeless American citizens in there.
And they told them no.
We're supposed to be expanding on the
They say, well, the Republicans are in charge of the federal
place.
government. Why can't they get this done?
Our music
It's simple
place.
math. We need 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans. We have to have Democrats. It is the Democrats alone.
Oh, they need
who are
63,
failing
not
American
60.
people. And this administration, every cabinet secretary, it's not just Secretary Collins, every cabinet secretary is bending over backwards to make sure that the American people are served and get what they need.
But the Democrats are making sure that the aliens
the funds have
are
run out
served
because the
and
Democrats
get
are
what
playing
they
games, and
shouldn't
that's what we've been
have.
here every day this month, pleading with them to do the right thing, and they do not care. They have shown how callous
Right,
they are.
because all
They
these
do
people
not
from
care
other countries
that
are
people
more
are
important
suffering.
than them.
And that's who's failed them. It's not the government overall. It's the Democrats who are holding up the government for working for the people. It's a very important thing. Jay, go ahead. Yeah, look, the whole point of this is a very important reminder. The reason we're in this mess is because they voted against the clean CR. What was the point of the CR? The CR was merely to buy us 7 additional weeks to finish the funding of the government, the appropriations process. We were working on that in bipartisan fashion and bicameral fashion. As you know, we had a conference committee set to go on 3 approach bills that had passed out of the House that didn't match the Senate exactly. They were
Hey, girl,
that
wake up.
process. And our appropriations, every time we work on this every day, took the simple step to vote on that additional targets just to stop that funding measure to make all and funding flow to the people so that we can finish that work. They're holding it up. So I'm heartened, Jay,
Come
that
on, bro, let me hold it. You fucking shag off. Fucking bitch.
I had a meeting with the chairman of our appropriations committee in my
Oh,
office
fucking
yesterday.
bitch.
We were talking about the latest and what those appropriators are doing, the things they're working on. I meet with Peter Thune about it almost daily on the subject. We are ready. The next packages of funding bills are being prepared. And yes, we want to pass that off the House as soon as possible. We want to get all 12 appropriations bills done because we're returning to the regular order. That's been a commitment of mine a few years ago, and it's something that Congress must do to be better stewards of taxpayer dollars. So we don't have, I'm looking at the charter, so we don't have this spike in spending. We have more responsible spending. The only way to get this, to make the government work better and more efficiently for the people, is to go through that stewardship process, that important obligation the founders intended and that we have used to respect. We haven't in a long time. So all of this is entwined in that. We've got to get Congress working again. We're anxious to do it, and the sooner we can get back here.
Well, that's it for this. Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up. Happy Halloween, y'all.